Get ready to live fearlessly free with Heather Bunch.
Have you ever had anybody misunderstand your heart? Or maybe they criticized you, or worse, even betrayed you. And it left you wondering, God, why would you let this happen? Or maybe you are showing up faithfully, and you're even showing up faithfully for others, but you're not sure who's showing up for you. Or do you ever feel like you are carrying this dream thing by yourself and it feels lonely? And some days you're just plain tired. Anybody besides me? Well, what if I told you the people in your life, even the challenging ones, are the keys to unlocking your dreams? Welcome to Live Fearlessly Free podcast, my friends. I'm your courageous coach, Heather Bunch, and I am here to help you Christian women, solopreneurs, go from feeling stuck, not enough, and fearful to taking focused, confident, and courageous action. We are going from just dreamers to courageous action takers, my friend. Now, we are in a series called The Dreamer's Journey. And we are walking through how God uses the dream that he put in our heart to actually grow us into the woman who's actually able to carry that dream. Now, last time we actually were talking about how to turn your setback into your next level up, your next step. And today what we're doing is we are going to be talking about something that is so vital to your dream. It is critical, my friend, and it's the people God uses along the way. Because the truth is, you know what? Your dream, it does not grow in a bubble. It grows through people and with people. And the story of Joseph that we've been using throughout this series is going to show us exactly how. So today's going to be for you if you've ever been hurt by people. And you wonder, is this like supposed to mean I'm off track? We're going to be talking about how God can actually use that criticism. And if you've been showing up for everybody else, but you feel like no one's showing up for you, we're going to uncover how you can build those kind of connections that move your dreams forward. And if you have been trying to do this thing solo, like Mr. Han Solo, and you're feeling worn thin, my friend, we will talk about exactly what you need to do, what you need that will sustain you and help keep you going. Now, I remember when I was first starting this entrepreneurial thing, I was maybe about a year into it. I was life coaching by this point. I was also still working full-time at the church. So I was double dutying what I felt like was my dream and my calling along with my full-time job. And I was listening to a podcast, did a lot of podcasts, and that just kind of helped me stay connected and keep learning in this business world because it was all new to me. And I was listening to a podcast by Amy Porterfield, and she had a guest on, Marie Forleo. And it was so cool. I just listened to these two women. They were just yucking it up. They were having fun. They were technically in the same world of helping business people grow their business in kind of different ways, but some similar ways. And yet, as I'm listening to them, I'm thinking these guys aren't competitors. They are allies. They are friends. They are helping one another. There was this camaraderie that I was just like, oh God, I want that. And I prayed, Father, I want this. I have friends, but I do not have people that like get this dream thing I'm doing, that are in this same world, people that I can do life with. And so I prayed that prayer and I asked God for it. And lo and behold, the next day I get a phone call, and this was from Pastor Amy Nunn, and who later actually ended up becoming my boss when I was still working at the church. And now she's a coach and helping helping leaders, and she does such an incredible job. But she gives me this call and she's like, hey, Heather, I want to introduce you to someone named Lethea Owens. She needs someone to help her write Bible studies. Now, Amy knew that I love to write Bible studies and trainings for Christian women because I had actually been doing that for her. And so she tells me Lethea is looking for someone. She's starting this new group of Christian businesswomen, and she needs somebody to write Bible studies. So I give Lethea a call. We set up a meeting. I go meet her, and she just pours out the heart of Women of Audacious Faith. And I just lit up, and I was like, God, this is exactly what I prayed for. Exactly what I prayed for. And she offered me a position. I could either get paid to write the Bible studies, or I could write them for free and volunteer and be one of the core members of Women of Audacious Faith. She said, go home and pray about it. And I was like, I already know what the answer is, but I'm going to go ahead and pray about it. I'm going to talk to my husband. And I did. And I knew, and he knew that this was it. This is what I needed to do. And so I volunteered. I did a 2-year commitment, which I have long exceeded by like 5 years, of Women of Audacious Faith. And getting into that community, I met not just Lethea, who is my incredible sister in Christ and my mentor and my coach, who I have gotten to do collaborative events with and projects with, but I have met my best friends, people that I am connected with, people I do life with, people that get me and help me and support me, and I get to do the same for them. I would not be here today if it was not for these women. I would not be fulfilling my dreams if I did not have this circle of women. I guarantee you I would have given up a long time ago. I needed them. And you know what? They needed me. You and I both know, my friend, walking out our God-sized dream isn't just about having the right strategy, the right plan. I read all the right business books. It's about being the kind of woman that can carry the dream that Father put in our heart. And the truth is, God rarely, and I'm going to say never develops this becoming of who we are, this becoming. He doesn't do it in isolation. God uses people. People are part of his growth plan. They are how we learn patience, humility, wisdom. They show us where we still need healing. They also help pull out our gifts, ones that we didn't even know we had or had forgotten. Proverbs 27:17. This is my husband and I's favorite verse. And it's iron sharpens iron. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. You see, when you look at iron, and back when they made swords, they actually, if you would run them up against each other, they would get sharper. It would eliminate the rough edges. It would smooth it out, and so it became a crisp, sharp blade again. You can do that actually with the little sharpening steels, you see the chefs do. It's the same thing. Iron sharpening iron. Well, relationships are meant to be like that. Even the hard ones, the ones that are helpful, and even the healthy ones, they all shape us into who Father's creating us to be. And they help us to be able to live out our dreams. We were not created to grow alone. Even Jesus surrounded himself with people. He had his 12 disciples, and then he had his inner 3. And even the one who betrayed him was still a part of it and important into Jesus' calling, which was to go to the cross and die for us and be raised to life, to redeem us and bring us back to Father. Every single person played a part, even in Jesus' story. And it's the same for you. The people in your life, the critics, the people that encourage us, our community, they keep us going. They are part of how Father grows us, how he builds our capacity and prepares us for what's next. So what I want to do is we've been talking about Joseph throughout this series. We're going to bring Joseph back into this because we're going to walk through Joseph's story. I want you to listen with your own relationships in mind, because maybe the person who is frustrating the crap out of you the most right now is actually the one that God's using to refine you. And maybe the friend you're pouring into, maybe, you know what? They're going to turn around one day and they're going to open the next door for you. Or it could be that your community that you've been craving is just waiting for you to say yes. Just like I did when I prayed for a community. So remember, our dreams don't grow in a bubble. It grows through people. So let's get started talking about the first group of people. We're going to talk about three. The first one, the one where nobody really asks for, the haters. Number one, the haters. We need haters in our life. Even the hard people play a part. You know those people that get under your skin? The ones that might twist your words. They might question your motives. They might seem to have a spiritual gift for making life hard. You know those ones? Here's the thing. They don't derail your destiny. What they do is they actually help define it and refine it. They refine you. Genesis 39. We're going to go to the story of Joseph. It starts in verse 11. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, so I'm going to give you a little more paraphrase. Then she, which is Potiphar's wife. So here Joseph is in Potiphar's house. Remember, got sold into slavery. Things were going awesome. He got put in charge of all kinds of stuff. But Potiphar's wife was like trying to get Joseph to do stuff with him because he was handsome. And it says, then she caught Joseph by the garment and says, lie with me. But he left his garment in her hand and fled. He fled the scene. But when his master heard the words of his wife, his anger burned. So she's going off and she's like, look, I got Joseph's garment. And he was like trying to do things to me. She totally lied about him. And so what happens? So Joseph's master took him and put him in prison. But when Joseph was in prison, the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the warden. And the warden put Joseph in charge of the prisoners. And because the Lord was with him, and the Lord made whatever he did prosper. Potiphar's wife stinking lied through her teeth. Joseph did the right thing. He ran when he was tempted by the wife. He's like, why would I do this thing? But you know what? He still got punished for it. That was unjust. That was unfair. That's the kind of crap that gets my knickers in a bunch. I'm going to tell you what is injustice. But that setback, which we talked about last week, is actually what moved him from the comfort of Potiphar's house to a connection that would eventually lead him to Pharaoh's palace. Even though he ended up in the prison, that was important because there was a connection he needed to make there to get to the palace. So even when people mean harm, and some of them do, some of them are not nice, some of them do it just on accident because they're just not thinking, they haven't grown themselves enough, but God will still orchestrate it for good. We've all had Potiphar wife moments, okay? People who lied, maybe they criticize, maybe they misunderstand our heart, and it stings, right? It sucks. You want to defend yourself. I sit there in my head and I'm like, ooh, I should have done this and I should have said this. And maybe sometimes you just want it to disappear altogether. I'm sure Joseph did. But even through that, Joseph stayed faithful and he took care of what God had called him to do, whatever was put before him to do, regardless of the lies that were spread about him. Sometimes the people who try to take you down are the ones God's going to use to set you up for the next best great thing. Now, Joseph was in prison a long time. So even though God's setting you up and he's going to turn that around for good, sometimes it does take a little bit. But if Joseph had stayed in Potiphar's house, he would still be managing someone else's household instead of actually leading a nation. So the next time someone comes for you, I want you to pause before you slap them. Okay, even if it's just in your head, you want to slap them, because that's really, I wouldn't really slap somebody in person, but in my head, I really want to. I want you to ask, Father, are you using this to refine me? And how? Help me to grow through this. Let's talk a little bit about the science of haters. So your brain is wired to notice and remember pain more than the good stuff, more than the peace. Psychologists actually call this negativity bias. It's your brain's way of trying to protect your future self from getting hurt, right? We don't want to get hurt, so we try to avoid that. But when you reframe the experience, when you reframe the hurt that happened to you, and what you do is you choose to see it as, I'm being formed and refined instead of, failure or hurt or criticism, your brain rewires itself. And what that does is it'll actually reduce that fear response. So you can go into similar situations and not overreact like you would because of what had happened to you, but you can actually go into that situation and use your reasoning center instead. So instead of going into fight, flight, and freeze mode and reactive mode, you can actually handle that situation, that hater, in a responsible, reasoning way. So when you see hard people as part of your preparation, your brain and your heart start to see growth instead of a big old threat. That's what's really going on. Hard people, listen, my friend, they don't block your dream. I know it feels like it. What they're actually doing is they're building a backbone in you. They're making you stronger. That rejection might be redirecting you. That accusation can actually accelerate you like it did with Joseph, even if it looks like a setback for a while. God is using haters as part of your growth process. Let's move on to our next group that we need, that is the key to our growth and our dreams. And it's the ones who lift you up and open the doors along the way. So the second kind of people that we need in our lives are the allies. Allies open doors. I love allies. Allies are the people God plants in your path to remind you your dream isn't a solo mission. Remember, Han Solo needed Chewie, right? The ones who pray for you. These are the ones who cheer you on. And sometimes these are the ones who give you that push out of your comfort zone when you're playing small. Let's go back to Joseph. Now this you can find in Genesis 40. I'm going to read little bits of it here. The cupbearer and the baker worked for the king of Egypt. Now both of them had a dream in the same night. And when Joseph saw their faces, he asked, "Hey, why are your faces so sad today?" And they said, "We have had a dream, and there is no one to interpret it." And then Joseph said, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me, please." And so Joseph goes on to interpret these two dreams. One of them was a great dream, and the other one did not end well. Now, the cupbearer's dream is the one that was a great dream, and it turns out well. And the cupbearer was going to be restored to Pharaoh in 3 days. And so Joseph interpreted the cupbearer's dream. Now, he didn't do this, for clout. He didn't do it just because, he wanted favors. He did it because he saw this man in distress. But I also want to make note, after he interpreted the dream, he did something brave. Joseph asked for help. Now you can find this in Genesis 40:14. So Joseph asks the cupbearer, hey, when you get restored and you go to Pharaoh, tell him about me, because I've been put in here unjustly. Now, I would love to say the cupbearer just went right up there to Pharaoh and said, hey, there was this guy Joseph and told me all about this dream. And no, he totally forgot about him for like 2 years. Joseph was stuck there. But then Pharaoh had a dream that nobody could interpret. And the cupbearer, he finally remembered Joseph. And what's beautiful is, you know what? That was really God's timetable. Because if Joseph had gotten out of prison before this point, he probably would have hot-footed at home. Nobody would have known about Joseph. And Pharaoh would have never had an interpreter for the dream. And when the famine came, because the dream was about a famine that was coming, nations literally would have perished. So when we look at this, Joseph's willingness to serve was vital. He was willing to serve this cupbearer. But then he also had the courage to ask. And that serving and asking became the bridge for his breakthrough. Allies are divine connections, and they work both ways. One season you might be the encourager. You're helping, you're giving. Next season, you know what? You're the one who needs people to open the door for you, give you a hand up, give you the pat on the back, give you the encouragement. If you only pour out and you're only giving out and you're helping everybody else, you are going to wear thin. You are going to burn out. If you only receive, you're going to burn somebody else out. You're going to dry up. It's living both. It's living with an open hand, ready to give and ready to actually ask. You make room for God's favor to flow through you and to you. So it is okay to ask for help. And I know that's hard. I have a hard, that one's hard for me. I'm naturally what can I do for you? Rather than going to somebody and asking for help. And I have really been working on that. But it is okay to ask for help. Joseph did. It is not weakness. It's really wisdom. So, excuse me, sorry. Sometimes those little eyelashes just kind of do their own thing. What you're doing when you're asking, you're actually inviting a partnership. And it also gives someone else the blessing of being a part of your miracle. That was a key revelation for me. When I thought about when somebody offers me help, or when I ask for help and somebody's giving me help, if I say no to that, I'm actually robbing their blessing, that feeling they get from helping. And it's a legit feeling. Like, neuroscience actually shows that generosity and asking for help activates the same part of the brain. Let me say that again. Generosity, so giving and asking, actually activate the same part of your brain, which is the reward center. Now, the reward center is that part where we've got oxytocin, we got dopamine, we got serotonin. So it's all that, the joy and the peace and, the connection hormones, okay? When you help someone, it strengthens trust and joy. And when you ask for help, it does the same for them. It's this reciprocal loop. And science actually calls it a pro-social feedback loop. So both people actually grow calmer. They gain more confidence and more connection when we are allies, when we're opening one another's door. So the translation for that is helping and asking are two sides of the same growth coin. You're training your brain and your spirit, my friend, for community, for friendship, for connection. And so what that does is that keeps that ally circle opening doors for one another. And it's such a beautiful thing. Allies don't just open doors for you, they also walk through them with you. So give freely, ask boldly, my friend, and receive humbly. That is how God multiplies favor, both through you and for you. Now, even the best allies, walking out your dreams can feel heavy sometimes. It can feel lonely. And that is why we need the third type of people. That is where community steps in. The people who will help us keep going when our courage runs low. So number 3 is the community. Community sustains you, my friend. You can have all the strategy. You can have all the systems, all the marketing things in place. You can have all the drive in the world to get it done, to achieve my goals. You know what? But without the right people around us, we eventually run out of steam. Community is what keeps our dream breathing when life tries to knock the wind out of us. And it ever feel like that? Like life knocked the wind out of you? Even Joseph, when you look at that and all the stuff he's been through, he didn't actually walk his journey alone either. Before he ruled Egypt, he was serving under leaders. He was learning from peers. He was living among people, and they saw his character close up. Even in prison, he wasn't isolated. He kept showing up. He kept serving. He kept leading. People would put him in charge. Like he had people around them. He noticed that the cupbearer and the baker were sad that day. Joseph, even though it's kind of odd, that was still his community. And then when God elevated Joseph to the palace, Joseph didn't do that alone either. He had Pharaoh's trust. He had other leaders that he was surrounded with. God gave him a wife and he had children that became a part of his story and his legacy. And then later in this process, God even brought Joseph's family to him. Those same brothers that betrayed him, he brought them to Egypt. He restored their relationship. He got his father back and his favorite brother. He got them all back. The thing about true community, it's not just having people who celebrate you when you win, which I am all about that. I love that. It's also having people who help you live life as you're walking out your dreams. Community is God's design. This is how you sustain a dreamer's journey. It's the structure that holds you up when your strength runs low. And we have those days. Going back to Proverbs 27:17, is iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. You cannot sharpen yourself by yourself. You need others. You need people who call out the best in you, who challenge your blind spots, who remind you that your dream still matters, even when you are tired of believing it by yourself. I want you to think of it this way. Have you ever noticed when you start working out with a friend, if you've ever done this, then you know what I'm talking about. When you work out with a friend, you push a little harder. I know I did this. I push myself way more when I'm in groups. If I'm in a group session of some sort, I push myself so much harder than when I'm by myself. When you have somebody like that, you show up even when you don't feel like it, right? And somehow, I don't know how, it makes it more fun, or at least more tolerable. Community works the same way. So maybe you joined a coaching group or a Bible study. And before you even realize it, you're doing the thing you used to only talk about. Literally going from a dreamer to a courageous action taker. Maybe you launched the program. Maybe you started recording your podcast. Maybe you started pitching your clients, raising your rates, writing the book you always said you wanted to write because somebody's there going, Heather, did you work on that? Have you started that? How's that book coming? What you're doing is you are surrounding yourself with people who won't let you give up on your dream just because you had a bad Monday. You know, you borrow courage from others and the faith that they have in you until you can build your own. I did this with the Women of Audacious Faith. I still do this. And I can tell if I have not connected with my people in a while, that's when I start feeling lonely. That's when I start feeling like, oh God, can I really do this dream? But when I get back with my people, I get energized. It's like the dreams reignited. I remember, Heather, you have a gift and you need to give it. So keep going forward. Keep moving forward. Don't give up. That, my friend, is a fruit of community. And that's what it will do for you. So if you do not have that, you need community. There is a Harvard study on adult development. It's the longest running study that they've ever done. It's run over 80 years. And they found that strong relationships are the number one predictor of happiness, of resilience, and long-term health. Now, why? They say because connection releases oxytocin, right? Those are those happy connection hormones. They lower your stress hormones, your cortisol hormones, and they literally help keep your nervous system in balance. They are protecting you from burnout. Now, here's the flip side. Isolation doesn't just make you feel lonely. Like, yes, it is a feeling, but it actually also changes your brain's chemistry. When you disconnect for too long, your body actually makes more cortisol. That's that stress hormone. Your oxytocin goes down. And so it leaves your system stuck in this high alert mode, and your immune system isn't as good. And over time, this imbalance, it can mess with your focus. It can mess with your motivation. And again, like I was saying, even your physical health, your immune system, chronic issues. Research has shown that chronic loneliness increases inflammation, weakens your immune system, and it heightens your sensitivity to pain. And that is from a study on perspectives on psychological science. And listen, COVID proved to us humans are not meant to do life alone. Not just meant to do life behind a screen. We need real human action. We need literal physical hugs, the touch, the seeing the face-to-face, sitting and having a coffee with someone. When you are isolated, your brain literally is even scanning for danger instead of beautiful opportunities to walk out your dreams with one another. But when you stay connected to safe, faith-filled people, my friend, it flips the switch. Your body relaxes, your creativity wakes up. I am way more creative when I have people to like bounce humor off of. And your courage comes back online. Like, it is so much easier to be courageous when you have people cheering you on, people that are with you, people that believe in you. Isolation drains us. It drains us. It sucks the freaking life out of us. But community sustains us. It builds us up. It helps us to be able to walk this journey, to stay on this dreamer's journey, to not give up, to keep moving forward. You need a community. If you do not have a community, my friend, that's your number one goal right now. is get some community. That is what you need. And honestly, a lot of your allies, they're going to come right out of your community. And when you're dealing with the haters, your community is right there cheering you on and helping you be able to go, okay, let's look at what they're saying. We can refine, what's going on. You do not need to do it all yourself. You weren't designed for that. But you do need to stay connected to people who remind you why you started this dream in the first place and to help you keep going, because this is a journey. This isn't a one-time destination. Your dream isn't like, okay, I landed there. No, it's a continual process of living out our dreams, and we weren't designed to do it alone. God may have given you the dream, but that doesn't mean you have to go solo. Han Solo had Chewie. And then honestly, Han Solo and Chewie had to connect with Luke and Princess Leia and Obi-Wan, and they all were needed to defeat, the dark side. So, let's recap. There are three kinds of people that we need in our lives. We need the haters. I know, it sounds terrible that we need haters. Even the hard people in our life play a part. They don't derail your destiny. They refine you and they strengthen you. Number 2, we need allies. Allies open doors. They help us grow, and we do the same for them. We open doors for them. They open doors for us. That is what allies do. And number 3, we need community. It is our community that sustains us. It keeps the dream alive. It keeps us moving forward, even when we feel like giving up. We have our cheerleaders around us going, you can do it! Yay! Let people love on you. The people around you, my friend, they're all a part of your journey. They are a key to your journey. So, let Father use them in your life. Even the difficult ones. I know it's hard. He is using people to help grow you into the woman who can carry this dream well. All right. Courageous action. This week, I want you to take a look at your circle. I want you to take a look at the haters. Yes, I do. Who has been hard to love? It could be a spouse. It could be a child. It could be a colleague. It could be somebody online. Ask Father, what are you trying to grow in me through them? Allies. Who's been a blessing? Who is opening doors for you? Just go back and thank them. I'm sure you thanked them the first time. But you know what? When people come to your mind, just give them a text. Just, hey, I was thinking of you and praying for you. What can I do for you? I actually did that this morning. There was 2 specific people God put on my heart to reach out to, and how can I help you? How can I bless you? And I prayed for them. And listen, if you need help, ask for the help that you've been afraid to ask for. Who are your allies that you could go to and go ask for help? You know what? One of my allies that I contacted, and I asked her, how can I help you? She goes, you know what? God put you on my heart today to find out how I can help you. And you know what? We're going to jump on a call. We're going to talk about where we're at. You know what? I'm going to ask her for some help. And the third thing, community. Where can you engage? If you have been engaged in the past, where can you re-engage? So maybe it's reconnecting at church. Maybe it's getting a part of a small group. You know what? I've opened the doors of Courageous Club. That is a community that I have made available to Christian women solopreneurs so that we have one another to do exactly what we're talking about. Maybe you need to reach out to a friend that maybe you've just kind of ghosted lately. Maybe not on purpose, but just because you've been busy. Reach back out. Growth happens in relationships. Your dream happens through people, community, your allies, even the haters. I know. The right people in your life, though, they help your dream keep breathing. Now, just a reminder, I just mentioned it, but if you are ready to grow with a faith-filled community that gets you, like maybe you're like, Heather, I get you. I get your personality. It's fun. Like, you're faith-filled, but like, you're not overly religious. That's me in a nutshell, people. Courageous Club. The doors are open. And I will have them open till October 31st. They're open now. You can go to courageous.club to find out more information. You can sign up. Inside the club, you're going to find teaching, coaching, but most importantly, you're going to find a sisterhood of women who will remind you that you don't have to walk out your dreams alone. So let's do this together. If you're ready, go to courageous.club and you can join there. Now, next time we're going to wrap up this dreamer's journey with this story of Joseph with the palace and the purpose. Because you know what? He didn't just stay in the pit. He didn't just go to Potiphar's house. He didn't just stay in the prison, but he eventually went to the palace and then started really walking out his purpose. And how do you handle this dream when you're finally really like walking it out and living in it? How do you stay humble through all of that? That's what we're going to be talking about, so you're not going to want to miss it. You have got this, my friend. Father's got you. I want to thank you a bunch for listening or for watching. And until next time, live fearlessly free.